baby, this morning. This is Elio Piedra. Another morning means another coffee because this is Morning Coffee with Elio. This is going to be a great day. We have a fantastic guest. Get up, baby, this morning. This is Elio Piedra. Another morning means another coffee because this is Morning Coffee with Elio. I am super excited today because my guest is a very special guest, a dear friend of mine, and he's a very well-known, writer. And her name is Priscilla Oliveras. And let me tell you, she's a USA Today bestselling author and 2018 RWA and RITA double finalist, who writes contemporary romance with a Latin flavor. I like that. Proud of her Puerto Rican and Mexican heritage, she strives to bring authenticity to her novels by sharing her Latin culture with readers. She and her work have earned praise from the Washington Post, New York Times, Entertainment Weekly, Redbook, Publishers Weekly, and Booklist, among others. Priscilla earned her MFA in writing popular fiction from Seton Hill University and currently serves as adjunct faculty in the program and teach the online class Romance Writing for ED to Go. While she is a devote on the writing world, Priscilla also considers herself a sport fan, beach lover, and Zumba aficionado. I can tell that, who often practice the art of napping in her backyard hammock. Let's welcome to Morning Coffee with Elio, Priscilla Oliveras. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, I am super excited because, we're going to be talking about your amazing career, everything that you are doing to purify that feeling of what we call love, in this generation, in a very special way. And now these days we need that more than ever.
Oh gosh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I wanted to start by asking, you were born in the United States, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but I am amazed how you put that Latin flavor in your writing. So
much. Latino.
Yes.
Well, my dad was in the Navy, and my dad's Mexican-American. He was in the Navy, stationed in Puerto Rico, and that's where he met my mom. So my older sister was born in Puerto Rico, but by the time I came along, the Navy had moved him, and we were in Maryland. So I grew up. I spoke Spanish first, and then we more and more just started speaking more English at home as mommy, started getting more comfortable with the language. But I grew up speaking both, and a lot of influence. Summers as a kid, my sister and I, school would get out on Friday, and on Sunday we were in Puerto Rico, and we were there the whole summer with my abuela, just hanging out with cousins there and enjoying the island. So I grew up with a lot of the Puerto Rican influence, as well as my dad's Mexican-American influence from Texas.
Wow, that is amazing. That's amazing. So let me ask you, how and why did you start writing romance novels?
Oh gosh, I will say first I was a romance reader, and that happens a lot. I started writing when I was back in college, so a little while ago. And mostly it was, I had to take a semester off of school. I was a young military spouse then, and a new mom, and the military moved us. So I had to take a semester off of college, and I needed something to do. And because I loved reading and my major was English, I thought, well, I'm just going to try to write a romance novel. Like, how hard could it be? And it is very, very hard to write any kind of novel, as I quickly learned. But mostly, I think I'm drawn to the romance genre. A lot of us authors like to think of romance as the genre of hope, and positivity. I love that in a romance novel, it's an example of a healthy relationship, and that there's a lot of conflict. Obviously there's a lot of things that happen that go wrong in the course of the novel, but I feel like for the readers and for the characters in the book, you kind of learn that with the right people around you, with the right loved ones around you, you can overcome whatever conflict, faces you. So I'm drawn to romance because of that positivity that is throughout the novel.
When you see that actually it is really hard to write romance novels, what is the hardest part when you are
Oh,
writing a novel?
okay. Yeah. So it's going to be different for different people. I think one thing that is hard is there's something called imposter syndrome. I don't know if you've heard of it before, but it's I first heard about it at a writers conference several years ago. But it's that self-doubt, even though like I have 7 books that are, this will be book 7. So I know I can do it, but starting the book process, I have a tendency, I'll research, I'll get to know my characters more. It's a little bit harder to start the book. Once I get started and I'm going, I love just like, I'll put on my earphones. I have a good Latin romances, Luis Miguel romances radio station that I created in Pandora. And so I put that on and fall into my story world. And then the next stressor really comes for me near the end of the book. I'm always like running up against a deadline. And so I'm running out of time. And I have this book that's like, or this story, it's like a movie in my head. I can see it. And it's just trying to get the vision that's up here in my head onto the page. Because by then my characters are like real people. And their friends, their familia. And so I want to tell their story in a way that readers will pick it up and fall in love with them, like I have fallen in love with my characters. So then the difficulty becomes that pressure to tell the best story I possibly can for these characters that I've created, but are really now like real people to me.
That is awesome. So let me ask you, why do you think it is important to see more these Latin flavor romance novels these days? Why do you think it is important to include more of that in the genre?
Oh gosh, I think Latinx romance novels, just diversity in general, it's part of our real world. So to me, I write the stories like, that are more like the world that's around me. My friends aren't all Latinas, my girlfriends. I have a mix, and so that's the world that I want to create. I just think it's really important. Whether there's a big movement called "We Need Diverse Books" that started with children's books. Now, one of my girlfriends started another hashtag, "We Need Diverse Romance," and just it's characters on the page, it's authors themselves, diverse authors, it's diversity on the other side of the table within the publishing industry itself, because people of all ages need to be able to pick up a book and see themselves depicted. Like Lin-Manuel Miranda says, love is love is love, and so within the romance genre, I feel like it's important that we depict love in all of its facets. Mine is a tiny corner of Latinx rom, but I have a lot of friends that write all kinds of diverse romance, and I just think it's important for all of those books with diversity to be on the shelves for whoever's looking for whatever type of book appeals and speaks to them.
It is so wonderful to me that you are actually exploding and promoting and helping with the understanding of the diversity, especially in this romance novels genre,
Mm-hmm.
because it's how you just said it, like the world, it is
Yeah.
a very diverse,
Mm-hmm.
so you are helping to spread that love in many different ways to all people, having, because when you are actually having a character that is Latin and another one that probably is American or from India, I don't know,
Yeah.
I am just about, I am happy that you point at that book, because I am about to share something here on the screen with you guys
Sure.
about that book and all of you have 6 books right now on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional, heart warming, sensual stories. So talk to me about that book, Perfect Effort.
Her Perfect Affair, that's book 2. And this was my debut series. It's called the Match to Perfection series. Book 1 is His Perfect Partner. That's my very first book that I ever had published. So it will be really special to me. Book 2 is Her Perfect Affair. That's Rosa, is the middle sister. The whole series is about 3 sisters, the Fernandez sisters. They're all Puerto Ricanas, born and raised in the Chicago area. So like first generation, their mommy and papi were from Puerto Rico and moved over to the Chicago area. 3 very different sisters. Rosa is the quiet and shy one, but in this book, she really learns to step forward and stand up for what she really wants. Jeremy is a family friend. He's an Americano, not Latino. And I will say I did have a friend, another Latina, ask me when she first saw, I had like a character board with different pictures that would inspire me for the book. And she saw a picture of Jeremy and she was like, oye, ¿quién es este? You know, hey, who is this guy? And I said, well, that's Jeremy. And she said, but he's not Latino. And I said, well, yeah, because when Jeremy came to me, he wasn't Latino. You know, that's just, he kind of came onto the scene. And that's how most of my characters are. Like first, you know, Yasmin came to me. And as I was talking with her, Yasmin's a professional Broadway dancer who comes back home to Chicago because their papi's been sick. And as I got to know Yasmin for His Perfect Partner, she shared with me, oh, I've got 2 sisters. I've got Rosa, I've got Lily, and the stories kind of go from there. So Yasmin's a Broadway dancer, home taking care of papi. Rosa is a librarian at their local Catholic school, Queen of Peace. And Lily is a victims advocate. And Lily, her partner is Diego. He's a Chicago cop. So the 3 of them, and actually when this goes live, you can actually get His Perfect Partner for free right now on Apple Books, just for a couple days. It's only until April 21st. So if you're watching the video before April 21st and you want to meet the Fernandez familia, you can start with Yasmin's book on Apple Books. But the whole
tomorrow.
Series is,
Until tomorrow. Awesome.
Yes, so it'll be up until Tuesday, April 21st.
So actually, this is fantastic. You are actually answering my question. So all these stories are real. They are real. The characters.
They're real to me. You know, like when people will ask, ooh, which is your favorite of the 3 sisters? And I'm like, I can't pick of the girls because they're like my sisters or my younger sisters, or they're like my daughters. The Fernandez girls are. I think the heroes, I'm close to them. I will say of the Match to Perfection, Tomas is always going to be special because he was my first hero. The whole book will always be special because that's the book that brought me into the world of a published author. But if I had to pick, I'll tell you that writing Diego plays the classical Spanish guitar. So I really enjoyed, there's a scene where he gives Lily a private little concert, you know, he serenades her in his apartment, and I loved writing that scene. So Diego really speaks to me. But Luis Navarro, in my new book that's coming out, the Navarros are Cuban familia. They live and work in Key West. Luis is pretty special to me too. I don't know if it's because I'm you know, opening up a new familia and I'm getting to know them, and Luis kind of ushered me into you know, Luis set a place at their family dinner for me to kind of meet the Navarros, so to speak. So I would say Diego and Luis are the heroes that have stuck with me the longest, even after I've written them. But all of the girls, for some reason, become like my amigas, and you know, they're pretty special.
That is awesome. And we're going to be talking about Island Affair in just a minute. You stay right there. We are coming back. After a minute, we're going to take a quick break. And we're coming back with Priscilla Oliveras here at Morning Coffee with Elio. This is Morning Coffee with Elio. This is going to be a great day. We have a fantastic guest right now. So we are coming back after this break.
it back on.
And welcome back to Morning Coffee with Elio. Yes, and we are here with the amazing Priscilla Oliveras, best-selling author, and we are talking about, her beautiful and wonderful stories and books. So let me ask you, what is your new book? Actually, the book that we were just talking about like a few seconds ago, Island Affair about. What is this book about?
Island Affair is like in the romance genre, we have like some specific, or there are like popular tropes, which is a word that means just like a storyline that a lot of readers are familiar with and they like. So this trope for Island Affair is a fake relationship. It's kind of like, think of that movie, The Wedding Date, where she kind of hires this guy to go to a family wedding because she doesn't want to go solo. So it's kind of the same setup. It's set in Key West, which I'm really excited about. We lived in Key West when I was all through junior high and high school. So I feel like I'm getting a chance to take readers home with me to visit Key West. And you'll meet, the hero here is Luis Navarro. He is a firefighter, paramedic, an all around good guy, but he's dealing with some things that happened in the past that he's trying to bury, but it's kind of resurfaced recently. And so something's come up at work, and his boss his captain has said, look, you've got this time off. I don't want to see you here for the next week, at the station, go get your head on straight. And so he's leaving. He's at the airport. He was just visiting his brother, and he runs into Sarah Vance, who is a well-known social media influencer. She's kind of like the black sheep of her family. All of her family are type A. They're all doctors, really well known in the Phoenix area, and they kind of see her career as a social media influencer is just something she's kind of doing for fun now until she can settle down with a good guy who, and lead like a more settled life. Well, when she gets to Key West, she arrives there and her boyfriend no-shows for this family vacation that she was already not looking forward to because she just feels like she's the odd man out. So the last thing she wants to do is show up at the rental house being dumped without a boyfriend when her siblings and their perfect partners are all there waiting. So she runs into Luis, and when she learns that he's got a week off, that, nothing to do, and the last thing he wants to do is have time on his hands to think about this problem that he doesn't want to think about. So she convinces him to pretend to be her boyfriend for the next week that she's in Key West with her family. So it's a fake relationship, kind of fake boyfriend. Both of them are dealing with familia issues. There's a lot of familia drama. The Navarro familia, like a lot of Latino familias, everybody's in your business. They know what you got going on, whether you want them to know what's going on or not. And his mommy always has an opinion about whatever he's doing. And so it's a familia drama, kind of like, I like to say it's a little mix of This Is Us, the emotion, and Blue Bloods, if Blue Bloods were, fire department and instead of police. And you get to see a lot of Key West. So it's kind of like a staycation. You can visit Key West from the comfort of your couch.
That is fantastic. So you mentioned that you have a very good that you guys used to live in Key West. You mentioned that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that's the reason you actually decided to use Key West to set this new series?
Yes. Yeah. For a while, I knew I wanted to write a story set in Key West. Actually, my very first book that I ever wrote back when I was still a college student and a new mom was set in Key West. It's a terrible book for a lot of reasons, and no one will ever see that book. But I feel like I'm kind of coming full circle as far as when I first had the idea, or the first dream that I wanted to try to write. So having the series, because Island Affair is book 1. It's Luis's story. Book 2 is scheduled to come out next May, and that is Ana Maria, the sister, and then they have a younger brother, Enrique, and they're all firefighters, paramedics in living and working in Key West. Ana Maria is a personal trainer. That's her side hustle, and Enrique is an artist. So we'll get to we'll get to continue to see the Navarro Familia over the course of the series, and they're all set in Key West. So I'm really excited about that.
Wow, that is awesome. How you you have it is like you are continuing the story, different stories in one. That is awesome. That's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
well, they're all the books are standalone. Same thing like with the Match to Perfection series. You could pick up book 3 and it's a complete story. You'll meet all the sisters are in each other's books, so you don't have to read them in order. I would say with Match to Perfection, something happens with Papi in book 1 that is, it's coming. So if you were starting a book, to read my books, I would say more than likely start with Match to Perfection, but really you can read any of these out of order and it's a complete book. The same thing will be for this series called the Keys to Love series, but so you'll be able to read them out of order. But Island Affair it releases on April 28th.
Yes, I am actually just sharing here, releasing April 28th. Pre-order now, guys. You can pre-order that right now at Priscilla Oliveras.com. So what is going to happen in case, because we're going to jump really quick into a couple questions that with this situation, number one, what is going to happen with the release in case we are still locked down? Have you thought about a plan B to release it online and do like a Zoom conference or something like that?
There are well, first of all, yeah, like a lot of the book signings. I had a book signing in Chicago. There was a conference, and I was supposed to be at the end of May. I'm supposed to be at Books and Books in Coral Gables and in Key West, and right now it looks like those are not going to be able to happen. So a lot of my live in-person events are being tabled just to be safe. Honestly. And to do the right thing during all of this. So we're looking more towards doing Zoom events next weekend on online. There's a social distancing or social distance book fest, and so I'll be appearing there on a panel with several other authors on one of their romance panels, and we're working with a couple bookstores to maybe do a Zoom event, where readers can come and do like a Q&A. Just, it's not just me. Everybody who's releasing a book right now is kind of trying to figure out what's the best way. All of my books are on their print, digital, and audio. Island Affair will be available on audio a couple weeks, like mid-May. But all of the other ones are print, digital, and audio. So we're hoping that even if you can't go into a bookstore to buy the print book, you can still buy it, still be supportive of your local indie bookstore or whatever your favorite online book retailer is. And even if I can't have a live signing, then you can always get the book digitally. So hopefully, while we need to stay home to social distance, it means maybe a little bit more reading time. And so people will want to have a staycation, head to Key West the best way you can, by reading a book set in Key West. That's kind of what I'm hoping. But it's much better for us to be safe and staying at home and doing our best to stop the spread, to not overwhelm, the healthcare providers and all of those who are out there, working those essential jobs that so they need to be out there. If we don't need to be out, then, this is what social media is for, to help us stay connected.
Yes. No, and I am glad that you mentioned that, because I think actually right now, the community, the world, everybody is overwhelmed with this situation, which is very, 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 very sad that you can go out, but it's for the good of everybody. So I think encouraging everybody to read a book, read a good book, especially if it's by Priscilla Oliveras. So
sure.
I'm telling you, you need to find ways to kind of like lift the spirit up and just it's our time to shine. I had a guest that said that, and I love that. Shine in which way? To keep working on yourself, keep developing your best self. And one of the good ways to do that is reading a good book. So you have this amazing book that you can not only read a book for your own, for just to have a wonderful time, but also you can support an author, an amazing author as Priscilla Oliveras. Going to www.prisolivera.com. You can see the website on the screen, and so you see how many amazing things you can do at once. Reading a book, supporting an author, and staying home. You are
Yeah.
supporting everybody, the first responders, and all of the people that are at the front line right now fighting the fight so we can all be safe. So let me ask you this question. How do you balance writing time with family time and all of that? Because I know you do so much and you are super active and you travel so much. So how do you balance all of that?
It's a juggle. I think now it's everything's at home, so I'm not going anywhere. I will say right now the juggle has been not not getting overwhelmed with worry about everything. You know, your loved ones that are far away and those that are out there fighting on and you know, I think I have a daughter who is a healthcare worker, so it's I will be honest that writing has been a little bit harder. Normally I don't have a problem putting on earphones and falling into my story world, and over the past month it's been a little bit harder to fall into that story world and completely disconnect with the real world. So writing, I'm just if I can get a little pocket of time where I'm making progress, I'm trying not to be too hard on myself. If I'm, you know, if my word count isn't exactly as high as I would like it to be. In other times, really it's really easy to stay in, like, you know, we call it like I'm going to my writing cave and you know, to write and kind of put everything else away. Sometimes it's really easy to do that and lose track and you're just in this fake world. But I think it's really important. You mentioned self-care a little while ago and stepping out. I think it's important to find the balance where you're focused on your craft or on your job, but also that time for familia, that time for friends, that time to go dancing. You know, when Elio's playing somewhere, that honestly, my Zumba classes and going to your performances, it's uplifting. It's a great way to refill that emotional well. So I think it's good to try to find ways to refill yourself, you know, because if you're go and you're work too much, then you're not there for your loved ones. You're not there for yourself. So it's a matter of there are times when I'm on a deadline where I tell my girlfriends, okay, I can't do anything, or I can only go out Friday or Saturday. I can't do both, you know, so I have to limit and pull back because the deadline is, you know, crunch time has come. But typically I try to, like, I have a word count that I try to meet every day or the days that I'm going to write. But I also take time off for, you know, familia time and time with friends, because I think it's important.
Yeah, and you have a wonderful family. I want to say hello to your mommy and daddy. Yes,
they're wonderful.
And all your family and all of the friends that we have in common here in Gator Nation. I know this is worldwide. This is you know, this is a show that everybody's watching. I want to say hello to my friends in Europe, especially in Germany, Spain. They've been watching my online fiesta from Monday to Friday.
Nice.
I can't thank you guys enough for watching. Please go and support Priscilla Oliveras today and buy the book, share the show, tag any friend that. So this is the homework for you guys today. Number one, you need to tag a friend. All right, you that are watching, yes, you need to tag a friend in the comment below if you know that they like romance novels and they like reading like good books. I'm telling you, this Priscilla's books are for you. So tag them at the comment below, share the show with them. And number two, the homework is go and buy the book and then go back to the show and make a comment, say, Elio, this is what I think about the book. Share your story, share a feedback, and of course, share how much you loved reading the book, because I know it's gonna be fantastic. So, Priscilla, if I ask you, what would you say to any I would say any author that is just starting out and in the middle of this situation, they are, you know, and going through a lot of stress and everything, what would you say to inspire them to move forward?
I think if they're starting out, to someone, I mean, these times right now are a little bit different than normal. So my first piece of advice is to be kind to yourself, right? And your expectations of self during this, you know, extra stressful time. So, like I said, I have like this X number of words I want to get. And I have to remind myself at the end of the day, instead of being disappointed if I didn't reach it, whatever words I have on the page at the end of the day are words I didn't at the beginning, right? Or whatever number of pages I have revised by the end of the day is more than I started with. So own that and feel good about that. Writing wise, if you are a beginning writer, I will say, I hope also you're a reader. One of the most important things, if I'll stay with romance, but within romance, if you want to be a romance writer, you really need to also be a romance reader, because you'll learn from those books. The books that you love, you'll want to study them and look at the craft to figure out why. The books that maybe don't hit the right note with you, study them and figure out why, because what you learn from that, you'll be able to take to your own writing. So read, but also write. And it's easy to say, oh, I want to write a book someday. There are a lot of people that say that. But if you're one of those people and you have the time now, or you're really interested in starting, I say go for it. Start writing that first chapter, and keep going, keep at it. It's not always easy, but it is very satisfying. Like one of the best feelings is when you get to the end. For me, anyway, that's what I relish, is getting my characters over all of those hurdles, over all of those conflicts that have to be in the story, or else it's a really short story. But when they get to their happily ever after, which is the hallmark of romance, it's a wonderful feeling.
That is awesome. Well, guys, that was Priscilla Oliveras, a morning coffee with Elio. And once again, you already got your homework and you got your books. Remember, let me share it on the screen once again, releasing April 28th. And you can pre-order right now, or go to, well, actually, you can pre-order at prisoliveras.com. That's right?
Yep. Yeah. On my website, there's a page for books, and that way you can click on whichever online store is your favorite, Amazon or Apple. Also, support your local indie. If you have an indie, go to their website. Go to, I think it's bookshop.org. My is connected with a bunch of indie bookstores who are kind of hurting right now. So online you can order, again, if you're going to one of the larger retailers, print or digital, and then my backlist is also on audio.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for actually making time for us, and for we had the pleasure to have you here. So I am very grateful and honored.
Oh, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So I'm gonna see you guys on Wednesday. This is Morning Coffee with Elio. And remember what I always say, stay tuned, stay inspired, and live full. And please do not feel overwhelmed trying to find ways to focus on the good thing and what you can control these days. Try to motivate yourself, keep working on yourself, keep developing things. And trust me, no matter how bad it is or how bad it gets, we're going to make it. This is Elio Piedra, a Morning Coffee with Elio, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Thank you. Guys, thank you very much for watching Morning Coffee with Elio. Yes, we're really looking forward to seeing you Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Do not forget to like us and follow us on Facebook and become part of the Morning Coffee with Elio community. Stay tuned, stay inspired, and live full.